Welcome to the Marriage Can Win show. We are your relationship experts, Eric and Dr. Sakeisha Harlick.
Here at Marriage Can Win, we educate, empower, and encourage couples to embrace that marriage can win, especially when you focus on 3 key areas: improving your communication skills, developing sound money management skills so you're not living paycheck to paycheck, and enhancing your intimacy skills so your marriage can win.
Now, we'd like to invite you and your family to share this broadcast. Come on in. Let us know what city and state you live in. And remember, if you're not following us on Instagram, follow us and we'll follow you back. Also, subscribe to our podcast on www.marriagecanwinpodcast.com.
Now, you know what is so amazing? One of our core values is helping clients or helping couples to develop sound money management skills so they are not living paycheck to paycheck. And that is our goal for this evening. We have an amazing guest with us today. We have Dr. Wendy Labat joining us this evening. She's an entrepreneur, a financial strategist, and an author, and she has her doctorate in business administration and in entrepreneurship with over 36 years of experience as an entrepreneur. She's the CEO of the Financial Cures LLC and founder of the Ascend Foundation, which is a 501c3 organization that empowers disadvantaged women to realize their dreams of entrepreneurship. She's been featured in publications such as Authority Magazine, Success Profiles Magazine, Black Enterprise, The Atlanta Tribune, and PBS American Portrait. She's been inducted into the Marquee Who's Who. Now that is phenomenal. She's a member of the National Society of Leadership Success and Delta Sigma Theta. And she currently serves on the board of directors of the Zion Hill Community Development Corporation. So everyone that's watching, I want you guys to give a big welcome to Dr. Wendy Labat, and she's joining us this evening. How are you doing, Dr. Wendy?
I'm doing great, and I want to thank you guys for having me. I'm so excited about being a guest with on your show today.
Well, we thank you so much because what we noticed, you have a plethora of expertise, and I think that would just be so empowering for the couples and for the people that watch our show. And you know, you're a financial strategist in addition to being the speaker, in addition to being an author, and so you wear many hats, and that's something that you will find that the guests that come on the show wear many hats. So we want you guys to just sit back, relax, and allow us to pour into you on this evening. So Dr. Wendy, tell us a little bit about you that's outside of your bio, something our listeners need to know.
Well, my husband and I are about to celebrate our 29th anniversary, June 29th. So we're all excited, and you know, to be on Marriage Can Win and being in that position with our marriage is just, you know, example that marriage can win, because a lot of people don't make it that long. You know?
Did you say you're celebrating on June 29th?
June 29th.
Oh, wow. That's my birthday.
That's her
birthday. That's my sister's birthday. She was at first kind of upset because we were having our wedding on her birthday, but it's like, get over it. And, you know, she celebrates with us, so we're, you know, double celebration.
That's awesome. 29 years of marriage. That is amazing. So happy early anniversary to you. I'm sure we will reach out to you. I'm definitely going to remember that.
Oh yes.
Oh my goodness. So Dr. Wendy, can you share with our listeners a little bit about any experiences that you've had that helped you to become an expert in the financial services or financial strategy arena?
Yes.
Well, it started 36 years ago with my entrepreneurial journey. I started a business with no business experience and very limited financial resources. And that was a time before the internet, social media, and the only thing you can do with a cell phone was make an expensive phone call. You know, I ended up, you know, focusing on corporate America as far as my clientele. And back then you had to have, you know, the brick and mortar, the employees, the inventory, and all the overhead that went with it in order to be considered a viable business. Because if you had back then, technology for them was voicemail. But for us, having an answering machine made them think we were a mom and pop organization. So we had to have live folks answering the phone and being there in the office. But, like I said, you had to make the expense payments, payroll, rent, phone, and all that, whether you made money or not. So, like I said, my resources were very limited, and you learn how to make money work for you and take control of your finances and be creative to be able to get the things you need when you don't have the money to buy it. So, there are all kind of ways, because corporate America back then, my terms with my suppliers was maybe net 10, but they wanted to pay me in 30 days, and I said, no, you can't do that. I can't afford that. I can't carry you. Now you're supposed to be helping me, grow my business. So like I said, you get a little creative, and you come up with a lot of different strategies that, over the years they work, because I'm still around.
That's phenomenal. And you said something key. I didn't have all of the resources available to me, but you still persevered. So that to me serves as a level of encouragement for those of you, those entrepreneurs that might be watching, that's no longer an excuse. I don't have all the revenue. When it's something that's really important to you, you'll find it. You get creative with it. You have bootstrap if you need to. And, we did a teaching, and we recognized that was one of the greatest excuses that some people use. And we want them to realize there's no revenue in your excuses. You got to produce. So that's a key indicator right there. I love that. Yeah. And Angela Tessie, she said, you're a rock star.
Yeah, you see?
With that, I've, been one, but she kind of brought the new version of me out, because, when we were, like I said, I've been in 36 years, and I, had a battle with breast cancer just, 3 years ago. And I kind of got in a shell where I'm like, okay, I'm, age, I could kind of slow down a little bit. But then God said, no, you're not slowing down. You're getting ready to get out here and do a crusade to empower people to get their money together, and get proper protection. So here I am. So it's been good.
Now, there's something interesting you said as far as protecting yourself. So what kind of tools and strategies do you have for protecting yourself from, say, financial ruin? A lot of people are concerned about their finances. Well, if I step out and do this, how is it going to impact me? What tips or strategies can you offer to those entrepreneurs that may be watching that are concerned about that?
Well, the key is to acquire the proper protection for your health, because your health is your wealth, for your life, and for your finances. Because a lot of people, especially entrepreneurs, we put, insuring our cell phone ahead of insuring our health and life. But having been a cancer conqueror and having been able to benefit from having the proper protection, that's the crusade I'm on. Because so many people just, like I said, especially entrepreneurs, if your husband or wife doesn't have, if they're working a job and they've got the coverage, then you kind of count on that. But a lot of people have lost that, employer benefit. And you have to make it a priority, because it can make or break you. Like they can ruin you financially if you're not properly protected.
So there are some things that you really cannot afford to take that risk in those areas. It's the benefits. You got to look at the benefits versus the risk. I'm covered in case something happens, versus you risk not being covered just by holding on by those few extra dollars. So that's something for entrepreneurs. If you're out there listening live, or if you're listening to replay, make sure you put #replay. But let us know, or that you're being mindful of that. And that's really, really important during these times.
And one thing I show my clients is that you can afford it. You may say I can't afford it, but once you go through my system, you'll be surprised at what you can afford. And then you have to prioritize. You have to realize that's a priority over anything, because 60% of people that file bankruptcy, it's because of medical bills. And 80% of those folks had health insurance. So you can't go lowball on, and just pay a low premium, get a high deductible, because then you're self-insured until you reach that deductible. So there's a way to pay maybe a few dollars more, have a lower deductible, so the insurance kicks in where you don't have to come out of pocket, say $10,000. A lot of people say, okay, I'm saving money, but my deductible is $10,000. But it's like, you have $10,000 to pay if something happens, and a lot of folks don't.
Now,
I think people just praying that that nothing happens, so they don't have to kick out any money.
Trust me, I'm a witness. After that one bill that we got, was it for $23,000? And I had two insurances, and I said, wait, time out. We got to revisit some things, that's something that's unexpected. A lot of things can happen to us financially that we don't anticipate.
Right.
So as entrepreneurs, it's important to make sure we have our finances in order.
Yes, we do. Yeah, because that's one of our core values, and really that came from out of a defining moment in our marriage, where our first book, Marriage Can Win, in birth. And what we did is we basically did the research and said, well, what are the three biggest issues that causes a relationship to fail or marriage to end up in divorce? And it came out to be communication, finance, and sex. Exactly. Because Janet Jackson said, what have you done for me lately?
And that's true. And and the priorities of those categories change the longer you're in the marriage. So but they're key. No matter what level you're in, those are key areas that you have to continually monitor and adjust. So that's great. It's great.
So what do you tell couples? I mean, because we like to try to get to couples before they get married and start the planning process. So what do you tell them that's the most important thing to really focus on when it comes to finances, when they're getting ready to get married?
Well, I tell them they have to realize it's now a joining of two people. But I'm realistic, and in our marriage, okay, we have our pot, I have my pot, and he has his pot. So as long as our pot is doing what it's supposed to do, you can do whatever you want to with your pot, and I'll do what I want to with mine, as long as it doesn't affect what we have to do with our joint responsibility, with the house and all the other stuff and the kids and college and all that. As long as those things are covered, then, your finance, you have your separate account. And I encourage, people to have a separate account, but don't be sneaky about it. Don't go say, I'm going to take my money, put it over here, and you don't know what I got. Be transparent. What, my husband and I, money, we haven't always had it, but it's never been a problem in our marriage, because we already know we used to do some serious window shopping, back in the day, because we didn't have the money to go out and buy stuff, but as long as you trust each other and know that you're looking out for the family and, the unit, because we're a team, we're not out there. Like I said, he has his account, I have my account, but we have our account. And, you have to trust that person. And even on a lot of my businesses that he may not be directly involved in on a day-to-day basis, but when it comes to finance, and you better believe he's on those accounts, So you just have to, set things up as a unit, but then realize that you have, your needs financially and time-wise. We do our we trip, with the family, and then he does a me trip, and I do a me trip, because you got to rejuvenate. And it's the same thing with your finance. You do what you're supposed to do, and then you treat yourself, based on what you want to do and what you can afford to do with your money.
So tell me, let's if you can, give our listeners a few steps on optimizing their financial health. Like, is there a particular area that that they could invest in or save, or what would be the best optimum direction?
Well, what I do is help them overcome the 6 obstacles to winning the money game. Because if you know what they are, and you know where your weakness is, or which one you have a weakness in, you can win the money game. So if you don't, then too, once you know what they are, you have to decide, are you going to fix those, areas, or, are you going to be committed to doing, are you going to take action? And I'm going to run down the 6 areas. The first and key one is mindset and lack of knowledge. Because if your mind isn't right, I don't care how much money you got, it's not going to always work out for you. The second thing are taxes and tax codes, tax laws. We just recently had changes in the tax laws, and they've impacted, folks in, the middle class up to, probably about $1 million. If you're making between like 45 to $1 million, you got to hit pretty hard with the new tax laws. And you have to know the tax codes, which people don't realize that 401k, IRA, 403b, those are tax codes. And you have to understand how that works. People think I got an IRA or 401k, I'm sitting pretty, but you see what happened with the stock market. Then we talked about before the critical and chronic illness or injury. That one injury or one illness can bankrupt you. It can cause you to set back big time. We're coronavirus time, and look at what's happening with hundreds of thousands of people. And then investment losses and market risk. You see what the market has done, and a lot of people, I try to educate my clients to take advantage of indexing, which gives them the gains of the market but no risk, because they'll have a floor to protect them, but the ceiling will keep them from getting the maximum gain. But still, it's worth it when you don't fall through the basement, you just land on the floor. And then the fact that we're in a global economy, not just economy, global economic impact, because look at what happened with the coronavirus. Perfect example. It started away from the U.S., but look at how it's impacted the U.S. Now we have the highest number of cases and the highest number of deaths. So we have to realize, not just with the health pandemic, but also with the economic pandemic, or economic problem, I should say, because, when China shut down, it shut us down, because we were getting a lot of our parts, a lot of our supply chain, products were coming from there. So any snag in that, they said you're only as strong as your weakest link. And when link gets weak, that messes up the whole chain. And then the final area is time and taking action. The timing, you have to move when you need to move and not procrastinate. And you have to take action, because faith without works is dead. I mean, you can think about all the things you want to do, but if you don't do them, then what good is it? So again, you have to, decide, commit, and take action.
Well, I love that. Decide, commit, and take action. And you know what? When you were saying that, I was started reflecting on a conference that we attended. And one gentleman got up and said, we spend a lot of our time, we're investing, we're going to these webinars and we're in seminars, but when are we going to stop learning and start doing? Because we use that as an excuse. Oh, I need to learn this, I need to learn that. But if you think about it, when we're talking about investing in their health, getting their finances together, there's always an excuse. There's not enough money. There's not enough this. Well, did you give up your Starbucks? Can you save $5 a day? There are ways in which you can meet those needs, and that can get your family on the path to financial freedom. But you got to be willing to do that. So do you have a way in which the clients can increase their income without having to get like a second job or something?
I do. Part of my financial cure system, it's a 2-part thing. First, I challenge them to, track their spending. I call it the spending challenge. And you look at, what you need and what you want. And you have to, distinguish between the two, because I had some people that thought they needed, one lady in particular I said, what are some of your needs? She said, paper towels. It's like, paper towels. You can spend a fortune on paper towels, but it's something you don't have to have. I said, need is something you have to have, like food, water, utilities. Those are needs, but you don't have to have paper towels. But one of my clients, completed the challenge, and he came back to me and he said, Wendy, we're spending $800 a month eating out. And
Yeah.
it's not that he couldn't afford it, but he realized $800 I could be paying off something. You know, I could pay off a credit card, or I could pay that health insurance premium or life insurance premium. You know, you can redirect those funds that would be more efficient in you trying to reach your financial goals. So that's one thing we do. And the other is take advantage of rewards points and loyalty programs, cash back, just doing your everyday things. You know, I have the perfect example I like to talk about because I just experienced this recently. I went to a conference, it was a 7-day conference, and it was in Chicago, and I'm in Atlanta. So my airline ticket, I'm a Southwest person. I got a Southwest credit card. So my round trip ticket would have cost me almost $500 if I would have paid for it myself. But because I had the points, I spent $5.60 each way.
Wow.
So like a $12, round trip ticket. And when I got to my destination, I'm a Marriott's person. I got, the timeshare and the rewards card, the Bonvoy card. And, I've got the points. I'm at the titanium level. So I can book on my points at the low end and get, a basic room. But when I got to the hotel in Chicago, it wasn't, a brand like a, Fairfield Inn or anything like this. This was a full service Marriott hotel. So not only did I get upgraded to a suite, I also got to eat in the club room with the smoked salmon and all the fresh fruits and stuff, It didn't cost me anything. But if I would have eaten those same items in the restaurant downstairs, I could have spent $50 or $60 a day on that. And that whole stay would have cost me about, almost $4,000. But because I had my points, it didn't cost me anything. So, I saved almost $5,000 just using points and rewards, so that's, how you can increase your income. Same with buying gas. I don't know, well, Orlando, I don't know, do y'all have Kroger? No, y'all are Publix people down there, but whatever.
Yeah, Publix.
We have Kroger. It's a grocery store where you can, rewards points. Get my prescriptions filled there, buy my groceries there, build up those points, and you can get up to $1 off a gallon. And, now gas is cheap, but my vehicle is a diesel, uses diesel. So that's the most expensive gas you can buy right now. Wow. But I just recently filled up and I got $1 off a gallon. So instead of paying $2.55 a gallon, I paid $1.55 a gallon. So it's things like that will help you increase your income without getting a second job and without going outside of your normal routine. You have to be conscious of it, though. You have to, like I said, be disciplined. If you use your credit card, the money that you would pay a bill with, use your credit card, get the points, but make sure you pay that credit card off. You don't want to build up the debt, but that's the way to really, I capitalize on my little banner back here would have cost me $300. But because I have my Office Depot rewards and I had a coupon, it only cost me $145. So, it's those kind of things that they add up and you'll be surprised at how much money you'll have.
Yeah, that reminds me because when I was back with Oracle and I was in consulting, I did a ton of traveling. I was like almost platinum with Delta. So I was always flying first class. And so that really paid for our honeymoon out to Hawaii.
Yes.
We stayed at the Hilton Hawaiian Village. I think it was 7 days and 6 nights. The flight was free out there. And
the food was free.
Yeah, the food was free. And then that reminds me, it paid for the trip when we were in school to go to Las Vegas because Sakeisha had a pharmacy convention there. And the best thing about it is we went to, what was it? One of those casinos. I dropped a quarter and won $500.
You just lucky all the way around. Got you a good wife and won $500.
I know, and I ain't had to pay for the airline ticket, and we had to pay for the room, and we came out $500 richer. So I'm like, God bless.
I agree with one of our listeners, Deanna, that that they have so many rewards programs out there. Yeah, that's speaking my language because my kids laugh at me before we go anywhere. I'm like, first of all, do you have the app? They laugh at me now, but Chick-fil-A, I think I have over 10,000 points. And I said, no, I'm not using them because you're going to be going away to college soon. You're going to be a hungry college student. And then I'm going to gift those, you can get you'll be able to log in and you'll be able to get that food for free. So we're saving all of those points, and it makes sense right now.
And so many people, you'll be surprised at people that don't take advantage of it. Anywhere you shop, anywhere you go, no matter if you walk in the door of any store, you need to be a member of their rewards or loyalty program. And, don't take it. You just give your phone number. They'll send you a card or whatever, but you just have to give them your phone number. And I've seen people at the grocery store at Kroger, and they'll ask, when I get prescriptions filled, they'll ask the people, well, do you have a Kroger card? And, especially guys, you know how you are. But no, I said, well, hey, could you use mine for this?
I know that's right.
So if you're not going to use it, somebody needs to get those points,
I know that's right, yeah.
So take advantage of it, because otherwise it's you're giving money away. You're leaving money on the table. It's too tough for that.
Yeah, stop leaving money on the table.
Yeah.
So based on all of your experiences as an author, being a speaker, being a financial strategist, what's one key lesson that you've learned that will inspire women to just continue to help change the face of this country?
Okay, well, we're doing that anyway. But what I want to say, and what's been key and what I've learned over the years, is that when God gives you the vision, He's going to give you the provision. So don't worry about that. This isn't right. What's not happening? I don't have the money, or it's not the right time. If He says move, you better move. And it's not about whether you got it together or not. I stumbled into business 36 years ago. I wanted to be a medical doctor. So I never even thought about it. None of my courses were business courses. They were all science courses. So I never thought about being in business, but that ended up being my calling. And the only way I realized it was, I was used to making money, but I was miserable at what I was doing. So once I got into business and I wasn't making any money, but I was enjoying it, it's like, I don't care about not making money. So that's, you're doing what you were called to do. So I think just really, trust God and listen to your spirit, don't, and I have some colleagues that kind of tease me about it. You're always talking about your spirit. Your spirit said this, your spirit said that. It's like, hey, my spirit hadn't led me wrong yet. So
that's right.
I'm going to stick with that. And I think just to really, go with, your spirit, and whether you want to call intuition or whatever you want to call it, follow it. Because if you don't, you're going to say, dang, I should have said something told me to do this. So you don't want to be in that position. I have one lady, client, I'm going to say this real quick. She came to me and she said, Wendy, I've been with this company 20 years and they laying me off. It's like, girl, you should have been gone 15 years ago, but you wouldn't do it. So God had to shut that door. Don't look at it, as a down thing. I mean, have a pity party, move on, but it's time for you to do the things that you wanted to do all along, but just were stuck in that job and couldn't, decide to do what you wanted to do. So I just have to say, just be true to your spirit and to yourself. And when, you're supposed to be doing something else, because you're miserable what you're doing now if that's not what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah. And the funny thing is that God, you either do it willingly or unwillingly. So either you willingly walk away from that job, or He's going to make it such that you can't come back.
And you're going to be miserable in the meantime. You're going to be miserable saying, I want to get out of this job, but get out. Don't, life is too short to not be happy with what you're doing or happy with the person you're with. You'll learn that as you get older. Happiness is the key. Peace of mind and happiness are the two most valuable, states you can be in.
So how do you're a speaker, you're an author, you help with finances, you've been in business for over 36 years, you've been married for almost 29 years. How do you manage it all?
Well, like I said, you have to decide and you have to prioritize, especially as women, we tend to put everybody ahead of us, and when my kids were younger, the family came first, but I still did what I had to do. Now they're grown. It's all about me, so you have to, and I shouldn't say it like that because, my husband is a key part of it as well, but still you have to know that you're the priority. And like they used to tell us when I was a Mary Kay consultant years ago, if you're not in good shape, nobody's going to be in good shape. How are you going to take care of somebody else if you're not taking care of yourself? So you have to, take care of yourself. And it's not being arrogant or anything like that, but it's just a reality of knowing that if you're not right, then what kind of effect will you have on other people?
Wow. So what is one of yours, because you wear so many hats and you talked about prioritizing, is that one of your greatest strengths, or do you feel that there's something else that's one of your greatest strengths?
I would say my greatest strength is just the faith I have in God, and the I guess closeness and the ability to listen to what my spirit is saying and hear it. My sister, my oldest sister, she said, "Girl, God spoke to me," and no, he said something about God finally spoke to me. I said, "Girl, he's been talking to you all along. You just haven't been listening." So you have to listen to what's going on. I think that's one of my greatest strengths, because no matter what the situation is, I have to get the answer, from my spirit. If the spirit says move, I'm gonna move. It says don't. If it says be still, I'm gonna be still. Even my husband, he said, "Well, you know what to do. The spirit gonna tell you what to do." He doesn't try to influence me one way or the other. He just supports the decision I made.
Okay. Well, that's amazing. One, to have the support of your spouse, that definitely speaks volumes.
Yes.
Because there are times where you, like you said, God can be telling you to do one thing. Now, what man says is one, but God said, "No, I want you to go left." But what man says, everybody's doing this, you got to go right. And God's like, "No, I need you to go this way." You move away from the norm, and that can be a place of discomfort. And sometimes people start to walk in fear. But when you recognize the voice of God, like you said, sometimes he's always speaking. We're just not always listening.
And in place to listen.
Yeah. Sometimes even as entrepreneurs, we've got to learn to slow ourselves down to hear from God. And I have other colleagues that have been on this call, and I've been a pharmacist for 19 years. So over the last year, it's been a transition for me, because I wanted to walk away, but I kept looking at that paycheck and kept saying, "Ooh, no, I can't walk away from 6-figure income." But then God said, "Okay, all right." He kept giving me little hints and hints, and I just kept holding on, like, "Not yet, God, not yet." And then once I found myself on the floor, and then I found them having to call the ambulance and started having these challenges, I was like, "Okay, God, yeah, I guess you were speaking to me." I learned the hard way.
Yeah.
And I don't want that for, it might be 20 years. You're right, Deanna. It might be 20 years that we've been a pharmacist, but it's been a challenge, but the thing is that now I'm able to do what I wanted to do, what's my heart and my passion, and it's not like work. Yes, It can be like, you're putting in lots of hours. When you're working for yourself, you're working harder than when you're working for someone else.
That's
but
so true.
It's a blessing in and of itself.
But it's good because it's something that we enjoy doing. We love to educate and empower and encourage individuals and couples to win. And you've heard in all three areas, communication, finance, and increase their intimacy. Because, being married going on 22 years, and we've been together 26 years. We met in college at the parking lot.
Right.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. And so, we met in college, and so so it's not like we met like in corporate America or somewhere, but to switch from working in corporate America and to work into our own business, it's that mindset. And that was one of those 5, pillars that you're talking about, that mindset. You have to change that mindset, because, and it's sometimes it's hard, because when you're so used to getting that paycheck every 2 weeks, you got your benefits, your health benefits, and all, it can spoil you.
Yes.
And then when you get out into your own business, it's like, wow, now it's like, well, you don't close any deals, and you're like, there's no income. You're like, okay, what do we do now?
But like I said, when God gives you that vision, he'll provide, he will provide. And then if you don't learn the lesson, he'll make you keep taking that class over and over again. And I've taken that patience class. It took me some years to get out of that one, and I was so happy when I did.
That is so true. Patience. Ooh.
What is a virtue? Because they always say patience is a virtue. What the heck is a virtue?
I know that's right, but it's something you have to learn, because it's not going to happen before it's supposed to happen. No matter what you do, it's going to happen when it's supposed to happen, whether you want it. God's time is not our time. So you want to try to sync up with his time, and so you won't be, disappointed or stressed out or, just anxious about something. So when you find that peace, even though it may not look like it's working out, if you got that inner peace, then you know it's going to work out. So,
but you know what? See, now God doesn't live in time. So he can wait forever and be cool. But
oh my goodness.
And I'm like, we're not living into the times of Noah and what's the name, when you live 300, 400, 500 years, you know what I mean? So can we get ours now? Can we get out here in the earth?
Taking that patience class over and over again because you haven't learned the lesson.
Well, I'm like, okay, I'm going to be quiet and listen. So what it is you want me to learn so we can go ahead and move into our wealthy place?
But like Deanna said, if it's God's vision, he's going to provide provision. He's going to make provision. And that's something just to be mindful of. And that's really key, because sometimes we move and then sometimes it's simply about our timing. God may have released this to you, but he didn't say move yet. Mm-hmm. He's just saying, okay, this is the next phase I want you to go into. So now you're going to have to study, you're going to have to connect, start building relationships. And then boom, I'll open that door. Sometimes we jump ahead and God's like, no, let me pull you back a little bit. I'm glad you heard what I said, but I need you to follow my instructions and not your own. Mm-hmm. And that can be a challenge.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about how you balance business and family life.
Well, it took me some time to get that balance. I started out, I was in the mortgage business, back in booming. And my neighbor was over, and it was like 10, 11 o'clock at night, and my phone was ringing off the hook. Every time you turn around, I'm on the phone. He said, "Hey, Wendy, you working kind of hard." He says, "It's 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night, and you still taking calls?" And it kind of, hit me. It's like, you're right. If they were trying to go to a bank to get their loan, it's 9 to 5, So at that point, it was like an aha moment for me where I'm going to have some set hours. I'm not going to be taking calls after, whatever hours I set. And I'm a morning person, but as far as taking business calls, I did a 9 to 5. And every now and then I may go to 6, but it made me realize that I'm not going to work myself to death. And if they were working with, like I said, a bank or some other financial institution, they wouldn't be calling at 10 or 11 o'clock at night. So, that made me realize that I've got my work time and I've got my family time and I got my me time. I always got to have your me time. But my mom used to tease me when I first went in business, because she used to say, "Well, Dad, Wendy, when are you going to start making some money?" It's like, well, no. She said, "You need to get a job." I said, "I have a job. Just because I'm not punching somebody else's time clock doesn't mean I don't have a job. I'm just as committed to my business as I would be to an employer, And I had gotten this award and I sent for her to come, to the banquet. And at the end, she said, "Wendy, I guess you do have a job." She saw that all the hard work I had done over the years, I was being recognized for it. And, being old school, back then, everybody had to get a good job, work 30 years and you retire and you be set. But, those times have changed. That's not, entrepreneurship is more of the, get your own business. That's one of the, pillars of generational wealth, is having business ownership and entrepreneurship. So, but you learn how to get things, in line, because you can't burn, the candle at both ends. You won't be worth anything. So you have to prioritize. When the kids were smaller, they were the priority, but still I had a business. So in order to keep the business full, I still, like I said, I had my hours, because I couldn't, be working 10, 11 o'clock at night, then get up and have to get the kids ready and go to games and, rip and run all over the place. Cause, I just wasn't wearing myself out. I did it. But then, like I say, after my neighbor made that comment, it was like, he's right, So that's how I do it. I just make sure now I'm getting more structured and more organized. I used to really be organized, but after the cancer, I got a little lazy and, not really lazy. My body just wouldn't let me do what I used to do. And now I'm just, I guess more conscious of how I spend my time. And I think that's the key.
Wow. So basically setting boundaries and to increase your quality of life.
Right.
And just enjoying life more, because sometimes we work so hard. When do we actually get a chance to enjoy the fruits of our labor? So setting boundaries is key, and I really, really like that.
So also I have a question for you. I know for us, we want to try to go outside of the box to do something that we enjoy. And it's a little hard now because of, things are still kind of shut down, even though the country's trying to, at least the politicians are trying to open up the country because of the economics. But, what is it that you do to really reward yourself outside of the norm of like maybe just going shopping? But I mean, like, what is it? Do you go out and do wave running or sailboating? I mean, what is it that you do?
Well, I like to travel when you could. And I like going to school. I like going to the beach, just stuff that's tranquil. I don't have to be around a whole lot of folks, because like I'm at that age now where just being by myself or with my family is good enough for me. I've always kind of been a loner. But I like just, doing something that's going to free my mind, something that's going to relax me. I love massages and all that, going to the spa. But like I said, because now the pandemic, you can't really do that. My nails, I need a pedicure real bad. Get one. And, I still got a little time before, I got to really worry about how they look, But I like just, pampering and, I like redecorating. I like to redecorate, which I hadn't done in a while because, like I said, dealing with the cancer and the side effects of the chemo, you don't have the energy to do what you want to do. Because I was Miss Fix It. I was one of those, I go out and I have some rental property and hey, I remodel one house, flooring and all that. And I like doing that kind of stuff. But, since being ill, I've gotten away from that. I haven't been able, I haven't taken the time to decorate, every season. I like to change up, rearrange the furniture, maybe paint a little bit. And I haven't done any of that in the last few years. So I kind of miss that. But I don't have time to do it no way because I'm working on, my book and the course and all the other stuff while we're inside.
All right. Okay. So tell us, you're an author. Tell us about your books.
Okay, well, I've got one book I'm working on. It's my first official book, and it's called Diagnose Your Financial Health. And it'll be released, I think it's September 30th is the date we have set. And it's really, I'm excited about it because it's been on my plate for a while, and I'm just ready to get it off my plate. And plus, people need the information. It's part of my crusade, it's part of the financial cure system, because you can't really get to your financial goals if you don't know where you are currently, and you have to take you have to confront the realities of your, finances, because a lot of people, that's a taboo, subject. They don't want to talk about it, and they don't even want to face up to it themselves. They may be in debt and say, just say, I can't get out of debt. No, you want to look at it. They don't want to answer the calls to the creditors or open the mail, that kind of thing. And then if they want, to achieve a certain level of financial security, you have to have a strategy. It's not all about making more money. It's about taking control of what you do have and having multiple streams of income. So if something happens like the pandemic and you have to get laid off or get on unemployment, it's not going to affect you that much financially because you've got your, reserve fund and you don't have a lot of debt, and, it's those kind of things. So that's Diagnosing Your Financial Health is going to help people or empower them to actually look at their finances and see where they need to make changes and develop a strategy to get to where they want to go.
So you mentioned about multiple streams of income. Now I know there's a lot of MLMs out here that are around here. Are there some that you're familiar with, or what streams of income that you say someone is looking for to add to their income?
Well, there are a number of MLMs, but that's not always the way to go.
Okay.
Talking about, especially for creating generational wealth,
Okay.
real estate is one. If you got the real estate, the rental properties, or not just rental property, but own your own home, because you can't bequeath a rental an apartment that you paying somebody else's rent on.
True.
So you have your own property. If you have, your home, or if you invest in a property, or you get left a property by, someone, your parents or whatever. A lot of folks, and especially in our generation, our parents got real estate, they paid it off, they passed it on. But this generation and generations under us, they say, okay, let's sell it and take the money and run. They don't even know where the money went. So you want to build that as a stream of income. And that's something my father did, and I thank him today. He's been passed away for a while, but because he was forward thinking, we have real estate, we have that rental income coming in, and the properties are paid for. So that's one stream. And then multiple businesses, and I don't mean, MLM, don't get me wrong, I did the Mary Kay, and I got the car, and they had the team and all that. But you have to be committed to, just because you sign up doesn't mean you're gonna always get money coming in. You have to work it just like anything else. You want to have, like I said, your opportunities to make your money work for you with, insurance is another way.
That's what we're doing.
Instead of having, the 401k, and I'm not saying don't have, if your employer's matching, then yeah, but it's just one source of income that's not going to sustain you when you retire. It's only you're running the money in 13 years. So, but the IULs, the Index Universal Life, where you got threefold, and you all in insurance business, you know about that. You got the death benefit, the traditional death benefit. You got your living benefits in case you, heart attack, stroke, or cancer, and then you got your tax-free income. And it doesn't have to be waiting until you're retired. We talk about the $1 million babies. I tell my clients, instead of spending $200 on some gym shoes or $300 on a day on video game, get that child an IUL when they're young and healthy. Then you can, when they start asking for money for a car, you say, okay, pull that money out that IUL, tax-free, that car, pay cash, and move on. They want to go to college or buy a house. So we got to be strategic, and the traditional ways aren't really working. So those are some multiple streams that you can develop. But, like I said, MLM, they're great, but you got to work it to get to the point where you're getting that residual income.
You've said a couple things that that we have done for our family and for our kids, but I think I want to probably dabble into more of a real estate and probably look into some rental property.
Yeah,
I wonder whose idea that was.
She's big on it, and I've had a couple businesses in the past with doing government contracting, and she was about to get her real estate license, and then I told her, I'm gonna need you to help me because of so much what I was doing. And so she kind of passed on it, but now we're both financial licensed. We're licensed to sell, like the IULs and the retirement. So that's something that we both are doing, and we enjoy, because it not only, builds your own wealth, but you help others to build and protect their wealth. And it's great to hear someone as yourself say the same thing, because it's like when you try to tell people that, they're so used to the old way of retiring. They're like, I got a 401k, I got my term life. What do you mean I got to pay $150 a month for life insurance? I can get it for $10, Yeah, but you only got it, you're fighting against your life. So you're not going to be able to use any of that money. If you got a 20-year term, you got 20 years to die, so your wife and your kids can have some money.
Right.
Where, if you have, like you mentioned, IULs, it's a permanent life insurance, and you have the living benefits, and you can withdraw and utilize that cash value. So
you made a key point. And
you did.
And I hope for all the entrepreneurs out there, those that are listening live or via the replay, that you are taking notes. Reach out to us, reach out to Dr. Wendy, so we can help you. If there's a question, a comment, a concern, like other people that, you're in the healthcare industry, we know, hey, we've been, in the healthcare for quite a period of time, but the 401k numbers are like this right now. You need, especially when you have children, you need to come up with an additional stream of income, help set them up for generational wealth. And it's amazing. It's startling. Like you said, people will invest to $200 pair of shoes or a video game, but then you say, hey, let's pay $150 a month, something that can help you out in a pandemic. You lose your job, you need that income. No, you don't want to do it.
Right. That's true.
It goes back to the mindset.
Yeah. Right. And a lot of people don't realize when you have those, IULs, that's an asset. If you're going for a loan or something, you can put that down as an asset.
That's right.
I want to share my story with you so you can use it as an example when it comes to, telling your clients about it. I'm a real life person and you know me now. But, like I said, I expanded my business to include the insurance and financial services back in 2014 when the Affordable Care Act was enacted because, employers were mandated to provide health insurance for their employees, and employees were mandated, not just employees, but individuals were mandated to have health insurance. So when I got involved, I bought up everything I was trying to sell my clients, not from a perspective that I needed it for myself and my family, but from a perspective of didn't want to be a hypocrite and try to sell somebody something I didn't have myself. And then, in 2017, I got diagnosed with breast cancer. And my chemo bills were $67,000 every 3 weeks for a year. I don't know about you, but that could have ruined me financially. And then I had 5 surgeries. I had, CAT scans, MRIs, everything you could have. And all that totaled to over $300,000 in addition to the chemo bill. So like I said, that could have ruined me financially. But because I practiced what I preached, I had the excellent health insurance that paid all that. And then I had the supplemental coverage that gave me, a significant multi-six-figure tax-free income where I was able to focus on my recovery and not on, am I going to be able to pay the bills or any of that. So that's when, like I said, that's when I got into the crusade of, the financial cures, because I said, okay, I have the financial cure, and my credit score was like over 800, no debt, it's like, thank you, Jesus. Yes. So that's something, and I tell people, use my story because I'm a living example. But now I have a colleague, this was before I got diagnosed, we were all in the same, on the same team with the insurance. And he got diagnosed with kidney cancer. And I told him, I'm sorry to hear that. I said, but I know you're about to clock some dollars, And he said, Wendy, I don't have any insurance. I said, what? You're in the insurance business? You don't have no insurance? Like I said, that's what I'm talking about, not being a hypocrite. How are you going to sell somebody something that you don't have yourself? And, and I've had clients say, well, where do you have your money? What do you have? What does your family have? And I could honestly say, I've got these products. And I'd say, hey, I'm going to put you in the same thing I got, because that's based on what your circumstances are. That's the best fit for you. I'm not just going to put somebody in anything just to sell them something, but you look at what their needs are and you satisfy those needs and you have a strategy for them. Let them know this is the strategy. We're thinking long term. We're not thinking short term. If you want to think short term, that's fine. We can work some things out. But you want to protect yourself, your family, because, like I said, I never thought I'd have breast cancer. I never thought I'd have $67,000 every 3-week bills for chemo for a year. And, like I said, if I would have been a hypocrite and I practiced what I preach, I would have been in the same boat that my colleague was in, all those medical bills and not having anything to cover it. So
Wow.
my story.
For sharing that, because
Yes.
that's just an inspiration to others that you need to take your financial health as well as your physical health. Take it seriously.
Take it serious.
No amount of money that's worth compromising my physical health.
And then when you get a diagnosis like that, I can't go out and get $1 million policy again. I'm stuck with what I got, and thank God I'm covered, but if I hadn't, I wouldn't have been covered. I would have had all this debt and couldn't get covered. So,
So Dr. Wendy, so tell everybody, how can they get in contact with you or find out, how can they get some of these products?
Okay, well, my website is thefinancialcures.com, but I have some gifts for your viewers and listeners.
Oh, okay.
I have my Diagnose Your Financial Health Guide. And if you text the word CURES, CURES, to 770, I think I need to look at it right here, 796-4944. That's CURES, CURES, to 770-796-4944. And you'll get my guide on how to diagnose your financial health. And then if you want a free 20-minute strategy session with me, then you text the word TALK, TALK, to 770-796-4944.
That is awesome.
That is awesome.
All right. So what is next for Dr. Wendy Labat? I know you have your book coming out September 30th. So make sure you let us know when you have the link and everything so we can share it out, because we really want to
invite you guys to my bestseller campaign, because I'm going to make it a bestseller,
Well, you let us know. We're ready to support.
Yes, we are.
Now, I'm also a speaker on the Inspiration 2020 tour with Power Team International. And, because of the pandemic, we had to kind of, shut down, do virtual things. But we're going to be in Tampa July 16th. And I think it's at the Renaissance Hotel. And I'll have it posted on my social media. So you can, if you want to come and get the tickets, and, it's free, but, it's always a VIP opportunity. But, it'll be some speakers talking about various, subjects and areas of your life, areas of your business. And I'll be one of the speakers. So, that's one thing. And it's a national tour. So we're going, we're a few months behind just because of the pandemic, but we're starting back up next month in Tampa. So
okay,
maybe you guys can swing by Tampa and check us out.
Absolutely.
Definitely. Get that down.
Yes. I'm writing everything now. So before we close, can you share one key strategy that couples can use so that their marriages can win, specifically in the area of their finances?
I would say just stay on the same page. Have faith in God that He's going to see you through, because times will be tough, and that's okay. That's just making you a better person, a stronger couple. And don't let money be a factor in your marriage. If you don't have it, so what? You got each other. If you do have it, that's good, but you still got each other. Don't let money control the relationship. Just make sure that you stick together, like the vows say, death do you part, thick or thin or whatever. Just don't let money be, an issue. If it is the issue, don't let it be an issue in your marriage.
Good, yeah.
That is powerful.
That's good.
So,
well, before we go, we'd like to thank you so much, Dr. Wendy, and we'd like to thank all of you that have tuned in to our show. And before you do, share it out. Let everybody catch the replay, because this is always some good wisdom. Yes. Dr. Wendy is really, she shared her story, and this is an impactful story, because this is everyone out there especially when you have loved ones that pass away, they need to have insurance. You don't want to be that person that's on Facebook that's having a GoFundMe to try to, take care of the final expenses.
Yes.
And then if something does happen, I call it the CCT, critical, chronic, or terminal illness. You don't want to be struggling trying to take care of your bills when you can get those things taken care of. And so, make sure you do. You go to the financial www.financialcures.com and sign up and like she said, get at least your free time with her to learn something.
Yes.
It's going to be beneficial for your life.
Now, Dr. Wendy has given you some tools and strategies that you can implement immediately to bring about a change in your financial future. So we want to say thank you again, Dr. Wendy. Thank you to our viewers live and replay. And just stay tuned, stay connected. Make sure you come back at 9:00 because we're going to be live on the Love Radio Network.
Yes, tonight at 9:00, actually in less than an hour, you can go to the Love Radio Network, www.luvradionnetwork.com. We're going to be live tonight. That way you can call in as well and ask questions. Yeah. But we thank you again, Dr. Wendy, and we thank all of the broadcasts. And we always like to close out saying, remember, you be the change in your relationship that you want to see.
All right.
Until next time.
Have
a good evening.
Good night.